Shalom, Apostle Tahar coming back at you with this truth, giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rakakwadash. And I'm going to entitle this video, They Shall Hate the Whore. And that's from Revelation, the 17th chapter, which I'll read. I'm not going to make this a really long video, but this is something that I came across on RT, the RT website, the news section. It says in the headline, Trump cancels final NATO press conference after tense and troubled summit. See, these European allies of the U.S. are beginning to hate the U.S. and really showing their feelings towards Donald J. Trump. And I believe, and I said this before, that I believe he'll be the man. We got to wait and see whether he's actually convicted of, he's impeached and convicted of it, you know, and put out of office, or whether he's acquitted, I guess the term would be used, and he stays in office. And, you know, I see him, but we have to wait and see. You know, if he becomes president again, if he's reelected, you know, that's 4 more years. So we're talking, he would come back into office in January of 2001. So we're talking about he'll be president up until 2025. I said January 2021 to 2025. And the new president will come in January of 2026, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, reading on, it says U.S. President Donald Trump has abruptly canceled his final press conference at the NATO summit in London, following 2 days plagued by internal stresses and tension between bloc members, and the bloc members are the NATO nations. It says Trump tweeted that when his Wednesday meetings are over, which is today. Today is December 4th, 2019, year Karagma, which is the chip. It said he will head back to Washington. So he's going to cut this meeting short because things are not going his way. And pretty much they're talking behind his back. There was a video of Trudeau of Canada talking behind Trump's back, not mentioning Trump. But it's obvious that they were talking about Trump because he wasn't a part of that little crowd. And the rest of them were kind of snickling and laughing. It says he will head back to Washington, D.C. and won't do a planned press conference at the close of the summit, saying he had already done so many over the past 2 days. There was immediate speculation, however, that Trump's decision to head home early came in response to a video. Right, there's an actual video out, and I saw the video. It's like 35 seconds long, which appeared online Wednesday, apparently showing Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and French President, which there was some tension with the meeting that they had. What was that, on a Monday? Yeah, Trump made a joke about you can have the ISIS, you know, the people of ISIS, the terrorist group, you can have as many as you want. And then you see the French president, kind of Macron, kind of, you know, smirking like, you know, stop joking and shit. And I believe he said, let's be serious. So you can see the tension with these really NATO and EU nations. they have against the U.S. because of Donald Trump. And so Donald Trump pretty much threw a tantrum and said, look, I'm leaving early. Because things are not... See, Trump likes things to go his way. It says Emmanuel and French President Emmanuel Macron are mocking the U.S. leader, though they did not mention him by name. Asked by reporters earlier about the video, Trump called Trudeau two-faced. This is a tweet from Donald J. Trump. Just finished meetings with Turkey and Germany, heading to a meeting now with those countries that have met their 2% goals, because his thing is that none of these NATO nations are adding. Well, it's a NATO summit, but NATO nations and EU nations are one and the same for the most part. So his thing was, y'all haven't been putting any money into NATO's treasure chest. He's been saying that it's the U.S. that's putting in that money. It says the 2% goal followed by meetings with Denmark and Italy. It goes on to say the NATO summit has been beset with difficulties and strife between member states as Trump continued to chide other leaders for not increasing their country's defense budget to be at least 2% of the GDP, gross domestic product, which pretty much means the bank account of a country. And 2% is a small number. I guess the agreement is for them to put 2% of their GDP, which is their money, their pocket money, their bank account money, into NATO. So basically their response is like they're laughing at him, they talking behind his back, they think he's a joke. In a press conference on Tuesday, Trump sarcastically praised Macron for one of the greatest non-answers I have ever heard, after the U.S. leader asked him if he'd like to take some nice ISIS fighters into France. Yeah, and I saw that the first meeting that they had, and Macron had a smirk on his face, and I believe he said, "Let's get serious." It said the jibe came, whatever the jibe came, as the U.S. announced plans to impose heavy tariffs on some French goods in response to Paris' decision to tax big tech companies ahead of the London summit. Trump also berated Macron for his nasty statement about NATO being brain dead. So there was a lot of tension in the air with this NATO summit. It says you just can't go around making statements like that about NATO. It's very disrespectful, he told reporters. Here you see, it says he's two-faced, and that's Trump talking about Trudeau. He's two-faced. Trump strikes back at Trudeau after clip of NATO leaders mocking him. So they don't respect the leader of the U.S. It goes on to say, in a sign of how tense relationships became, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson was even forced to dismiss suggestions by a reporter that he does not take Trump seriously as complete nonsense. So these people, NATO representatives, NATO leaders, they think that Trump is a big joke. And over here in the States, They think he's a big joke, and they want to get rid of him. But if the Most High wants him to stay in, he's going to stay in. Anyway, that's all I'm going to read. If I remember, I'll leave the clip in the link in the description box. And I just want to end with one scripture. I said this wasn't going to be a long video, and this is prophecy coming to pass. This is Revelation. Revelation 17. Because these NATO leaders, these NATO nations, ultimately what they're going to do, NATO and EU, they're going to shoot missiles on the U.S. And Russia's going to shoot missiles on the U.S. and possibly China and these other nations. And I'll say any nation that possesses these ICBM missiles, these ICBM missiles were set up for one reason, and that's to completely destroy Babylon the Great. I'll start the 11th verse. And the beast, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth, which is America, and is of the seven, which is the seven member empire, which is the Roman Empire coming back into power again. America, Great Britain. America came out of Great Britain. It says. Well, even Johnson, the leader of Great Britain, was mocking him as well. He was a part of that group, laughing at him and mocking him. I just want to try something. Bear with me for a minute. I know it's in the book of Jeremiah. I'm almost positive it's in the book of Jeremiah. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, I found it. Jeremiah 50 verse 12. Now, should I read a couple of verses above that? Let me see. Really, you got to read the whole chapter. Yeah, I'm going to start at the 9th verse. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon, which is America, Babylon the Great, an assembly of nations, of great nations, from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array. And that's talking about Russia. That's talking about these NATO/EU nations. So, ultimately, Babylon the Great, America is going to be hit from every angle by these missiles. One day what I'll do is I'll do a video on how many nations possess the ICBM missile technology, or have built up or created missiles. Because any nation, like I said, the Most High is not going to allow you to build up something if he's not going to use it. He's putting the spirit in these nations to build. Let the weak say I am strong, in Joel. It says, 9th verse again, Jeremiah 50 verse 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of nations, of great nations, from the north quarter, from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. The her is Babylon the Great. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows, which are the, because you can't take a arrow and shoot it from Russia and expect it to reach unto America. It's just not going to happen. You can't expect North Korea to shoot an arrow and shoot it at America and it's going to hit America. That's stupid. The arrows represent the ICBM missiles, because that's what Jeremiah saw. That's what Isaiah saw. That's what John on the Isle of Patmos saw. They saw missiles, but they didn't. There was no such thing as missiles back then, so they called them arrows. John in the book of Revelation, he referred to them as a lion's head, fire coming from behind it. There's references of the missiles looking like snakes, looking like a military lined up in battle array. It said, from thence she shall be taken. Their arrow shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. So every missile that's been built up through the years, we can go back as far as the 50s. The technology, the ICBM, I guess is the 50s, 60s. Anyway, these missiles, these arrows are missiles. It says, and Chaldea shall be a spoil. Chaldea is another word for Babylon, or the daughter of Babylon, which is America. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord. So all these nations that shoot missiles on her, they're going to be happy when she goes down. Because ye were glad, because ye rejoice, O ye destroyers of mine heritage. And that's what you did. The destroyer of the Most High's heritage is who or what? Let's look up the word heritage. The word there is nakala. Possession, property, inheritance, property, portion. The portion of Jacob is not like them. So let's talk about Israel and the land. Share, inheritance, portion. It's talking about the land and the people. And read the 10th verse again. And Chaldea shall be spoiled. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith Yahweh. Because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyer of mine heritage. Because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls. Your mother, which represents Great Britain, England, shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost part of the nation shall be a wilderness. The hindermost part of the nation represents America, because they're on the uttermost west. You know, you go around the world, you go from the east to the west. The last part of the west that you're going to hit is the west coast of America. So that's the hindermost most of the nation shall be as a wilderness, a dry land. What is a dry land? A desert. And a desert. Because those missiles, it tells you that that in 2 Peter's 3 verse 10 on down. It says the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And when the smoke clears and the fires are put out and the smoke clears, you're going to have nothing but a desert. Everything's going to be broken down to simple elements. It says the 13th verse, because of the wrath of Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, that's Babylon the Great, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. 14th verse, put yourself in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, and the bow represents the silos, shoot at her with what? The ICBM missiles. Spare no arrows. So every missile that has been built is going to be used to destroy this place. And that's called overkill. There's going to be places that's going to be hit by the missiles in America that you're going to have missiles hit on top of those missiles. For she have sinned against the Lord. How had Esau sinned against the Lord? Because they claim that they're Bible believing nation. That their presidents and their governors and so forth swearing on the Bible, and they'll get their best Bible. I'm gonna use this Bible was given to me by my grandmother. I'm gonna use that Bible to swear in. And they cast their word, the word behind them, and they bring out their laws. It says 15th verse, shout against her round about. She have given her hand, her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of Yahweh, take vengeance upon her, as she have done, do unto her. 16th verse, cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle. There's not going to be no planting. See what you got in the middle of the Bible Belt, the bread basket of the world. What you got in the middle of the United States is a lot of farming going on. And I've been through the middle of America in a Greyhound bus, and for hours and hours and hours you'll see wheat, you'll see corn. So that's where most of that produce come from, the middle of America. It says, in the time of harvest, for fear of the oppressing sword. The oppressing sword is what? The destruction device, the ICBM. They shall turn everyone to his people, and that's these other nations. These nations, they're seeing that they're not prospering like they used to years ago when they first came to America. I'm talking about the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. This place is going down on an economic level. And all the so-called allies of America, they're turning it back. This NATO summit, they got their own little group that they don't include Trump, and they talking shit about it behind his back. And that's why, as the article said, he left early. He said, I don't want to be the brunt of every joke. It says sword, and then when he comes back, he's coming back for these impeachment proceedings. They shall turn everyone to his people, and they shall flee everyone to his own land. That's also spoken of in Isaiah the 13th chapter. Israel is a scattered sheep. The lion hath driven him away. And that's such. First, the king of Assyria hath devoured him, which was the kingdom of the northern kingdom, or the kingdom of Israel. And last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, have broken his bones. They took down Judah. '18th verse. Therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the Most High of Israel, behold, I will punish the king of Babylon. Who's the king of Babylon right now? Donald Trump. And his land, which is America, as I have punished the king of Assyria. Now, the king of the Most High didn't destroy the king of Assyria with missiles. Bear with me for a minute. I want to just check out another precept well, it's probably in the same. Okay, I just found it. It says in the 40, Jeremiah 50 verse 40. I'll start at 39. It says, therefore the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the island shall dwell there, and the owls shall dwell there, and it shall be no more inhabited forever, neither shall it be dwelt in, lived in, from generation to generation. As the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities thereof, saith the Most High, so shall no a man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. So now let's go from here to real quick, Revelation 17. And we went through these scriptures before, but these scriptures are coming to pass. You know, this meeting that they had, that Trump is leaving early. I don't know why he's leaving early, because he's coming right back to America to face impeachment proceedings. Revelation 17 verse 12, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings. Now there's like 28, 29 members of, you're talking about the members of NATO and the EU, which have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings 1 hour with the beast. The beast and the EU are one and the same. It says, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast, which is NATO. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is the Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou seest or sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which represent about 29 nations, almost 30 nations, thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, which is America. And how they hating the whore? They're showing their hate to Trump. So if they hate Trump, Trump is the leader of America, so therefore they're going to hate America. So ultimately, you know, we always talk about what the Russians are going to do. It's not just the Russians, it's all these nations that possess missiles. And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. It says, for the Most High, 17 verse, have put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. So the Most High, through the spirits and the angels, they're doing certain things to make this come about, to make the NATO nations, or AKA the EU nations, come against America. It says, and the woman which thou sawest, which is America, is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So now they're coming against the kings of the earth. The kings of the earth are coming against America, rather. Anyway, with that, like I said, I wanted to make it short, but it was a little long. But yeah, these are just prophecies coming to pass, and you're going to see us bring out a lot from the book of Revelation, from Daniel, from Ezekiel, from Isaiah, the book of Jeremiah, Habakkuk, Zechariah, Ezekiel, because we're in the time of these prophecies coming to pass. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom, and it's on to the next one.